Hello students, here is the first little video. It's an introduction video, I guess, to Fusion 360. Now, many of you probably haven't used this before, so everything that you see here is a little bit alien to you, and you probably think, wow, it's a little overwhelming. There's a lot of stuff here that I don't know what it means, and I've got no idea really what I need to do in it. So I'm just going to show you what we can do. Just some basic things really, and I'll work through each section of our little flashlight torch that you began sketching in class, and we'll use those sketches to create our drawings in here. So what I'm talking about is, here's an example of a student from your group. This is just a PDF, a scanned image of what he drew on the paper. So you can see here it's got the battery section here, so the side view, top view, head, and it's got all of the dimensions around it, spring, body, etc. I'm going to start for this video just on the spring. Okay, so I'm just going to zoom in a little bit on this one, move that down a bit. Um, and we're really going to focus on these dimensions here that have been drawn in there so that we can create our spring. So I'll just put this a little bit to the side for now, and then we'll come back to that in a second. Now, oops, I'll just take that out a little further. First thing we want to do is go to this little section here where it says create. So here you've got objects that you can choose. They're called primitives. So you've got a box, a cylinder, sphere, torus, etc. Coil. Coil will be what we use very soon to create the spring. And there's a lot of great things you can do in this program that SketchUp really doesn't quite come close to. So that's in the create menu here. You can change things later on if you make a mistake. You can do assembly. You can just draw freehand using the sketch feature. You can measure elements, and then later on we can 3D print these. So this menu mainly will be sort of using these two sections here, I guess, and possibly the sketch section. On the right side of the screen here, you'll see there's a little orbit tool. So I'm just going to start by, I'll just create a little box on the plane here. Doesn't matter really about the sizes. That's good for now. So here you can grab a section of that cube at the top right and orbit around. So it's pivoting around that point, or you can say, no, I just want to look at the right hand side and click on that and go to the side, or no, I want to look at the left hand side. No, actually changed my mind and now I want to look at everything nice and close in an isometric view. So that's quite handy. If you ever get lost, click on the home button and that takes you back to your main drawing. Down the bottom here you'll see there's different ways of moving around your drawing space. Panning is obviously just sort of grabbing and moving left to right. We're not doing any scaling, and we're not doing any orbiting. That's this tool here. So orbit, you can see then we can just get that around, and sometimes it's sort of a little bit confusing when you have got a complex drawing. So I'm just going to click on the home button and that will take me back to an isometric drawing, and I'll zoom out a little bit using I'm using a mouse, so I'm just using the middle scroll wheel there. Down the bottom here is basically the steps that you've taken. So if you make any errors, you can go back a step and get rid of that and start all over. You can do it that way, or you can just use the back arrow key. But this one down here just does it as a timeline, and you can sort of play through the timeline and see the object getting created. We won't worry too much about that for now. Right, let's start with the spring. So we go to create. We're going to do a coil. Now, in Fusion, it wants to know what surface or what plane you want to start drawing on. So if we look here at our surfaces, we basically want to draw looking down from the top. So I'm just going to click on that one there. So it would be like a side view, left side view, right side view, I guess. So we're going to click on that and we're going to say, well, we just want to draw on the base. So we'll start from the origin. The origin is just the intersection of your X, Y, Z planes. The actual diameter that we have was 12 millimeters. So I'm just going to press enter there, and here it brings up now all of the information that we need to be able to create a spring. Now, just judging, I'll just bring this drawing back here. So I'm just going to put that there for now. At the moment, I've got a diameter of 12, and that's 1.2 centimeters. Okay. Revolutions is just how many times it goes around here, up to the top. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll just change that to 5. I'm assuming this is accurate. Maybe best to take a look at the spring again in class. The height we've got is 1.5 centimeters. So I'm just going to change that height here to 1.5 or 15 millimeters. And minus 10 degrees. So basically, it's tapering in here on the spring itself. We could measure that with a compass to get it absolutely perfect. For the purpose of this activity, though, we'll just choose minus 10. Now, I'll move this to the side because what we're seeing now is if I just zoom out a little bit. This is a really fat spring and it doesn't really look like what it's supposed to. So at the moment we've got the diameter is correct, which was this blue circle here, the 12 millimeters. It tells us our height is 15. We've got our 5 coils, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we've got it tapering in. If we had that as not a negative but a positive, then you can see it tapers out. So we want it to taper in. So we just put a little negative sign there, and you can see that pulls it in. Now, we want the section to be circular. You can also do like a square type spring if you wanted to, but it looks a little ugly and it's not really how a spring should be. So we're just going to keep it like that. Now, we put the millimeters, let's put that down to 1 millimeter. And that looks a little bit more like the spring that appears on our sketch. So we're going to make this a new component, and we just click OK, and that's our spring. Okay, so what we've got there, if I just pan across, I'll move this over to there, and I will grab this one. This is our drawing. And that was our sketch of our spring. Okay, so we've gone from a rough sketch here to a professional object now that we could actually print out on the 3D printer. And to do that, you just go 3D print, and you'd say, all right, I want this to be selected. Sorry, that to be printed. So you select that, it turns blue. Everything that you're going to print turns blue, and you click OK. And then what happens is it then brings up the 3D printing program. In our case, we use Cura, and if I you can see it's quite small there. If I zoom in, there's our spring, and if I were just to rotate that, for example, ready for the 3D printer, it's going to take us 4 minutes to print that out. And so we would just go File, File, Print. Too easy. Yeah. So that's the process of creating a spring in a very simplified format. So that's it. We'll do that for each component. Thanks for watching.